Good guy, bad guy. I'm sure you've all seen the old police movies where the suspect is brought in for interrogation. First detective to interrogate him is a rough, tough, mean-looking guy, threatens him with all kinds of things they're going to do. He's mysteriously called away to take a phone call. The second detective, who's brought in to look after the prisoner while the first one's gone, just the warmest, nicest person in the entire world. And he sits down with the prisoner and says, listen, kid, it's really not that bad. I know the ropes around here. They're just trying to scare you. Why don't you let me see what I can do for you with them? And it's a real temptation to think that the good guy's on your side when, of course, he's really not. Then he would close on what salespeople would recognize as a minor point close. I think all the detectives really need to know is, where did you buy the gun? What they really want to know is, where did you bury the body? But it's a lot easier when you start out with a minor point and then build from that. This is used on you a lot more than you might believe. Look out for it anytime you're dealing with two people. One of your salespeople may have made an appointment to meet with a buyer at a corporation. And when they get there, the vice president in charge of procurement comes in. So now they're negotiating 2-on-1, which is not good. You normally try to equalize the size of the negotiating teams. But everything's going along fine until the vice president starts getting irritated. Stands up and says to the buyer, look, I don't think these people are interested in making a serious proposal to us. I'm sorry, I got things to do, and storms out of the room. This really shakes you up if you're not used to negotiating. Then the buyer says, well, sometimes he gets that way. It's kind of hard to deal with, but I'd really like to see us to put this together with you. If you could be just a little bit more flexible, I still think we can put this together. Tell you what, why don't you let me see what I can do for you with the vice president? Unless you hear what they're saying, you will hear yourself saying, what do you think you could get him to go along with? And pretty soon you'll have the buyer negotiating for you, and he's not even on your side. Now, if you think I'm exaggerating on this, haven't we all at one time or another said to a car salesperson, what do you think you could get your sales manager to go along with? Haven't we all at one time or another been buying real estate? We have a real estate agent representing us as the buyer. We find the property we want to buy. We turn to our agent and say, what do you think you could get the sellers to accept? Now, who's paying your agent? It's not you, right? They're being paid by the seller, yet they've effectively worked good guy, bad guy. And it's very powerful. This is what Carter and Reagan got the hostages out of the Tehran embassy with. Remember this, Carter's lost the election, so he's eager to get the hostages out before Reagan gets into office and takes credit for their release. He's playing good guy, bad guy with the Ayatollah in Iran. He's saying, hey, if I were you, I'd settle this thing with me. I wouldn't take a chance on this new team coming into office. Have you taken a look at these guys? The president's a former cowboy actor. Vice president's head of the CIA. Secretary of State is Alexander Haig. These guys are crazier than Englishmen. There's no telling what they might do. If I were you, I'd settle it with me. Reagan, playing along with it, said, hey, if I were you, I'd settle it with Carter because he's a nice guy. You're definitely not going to like what I have to say about it when I get into office. And when did we see those hostages being released? On the morning of Reagan's inauguration. That's how effective good guy, bad guy can be. Counter gambit, typically just identifying the tactic. It's such a well-known tactic that when you say to them, oh, come on, you're not going to play good guy, bad guy with me, are you? They get embarrassed, they get caught, and they'll back off.